Greetings and welcome to Caring for Seniors. Each week, I sit down with Dave Stieglitz and we discuss all aspects of senior living, from housing through to financial planning and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about seasonal celebrations.
Seasonal
And
celebrations.
what does that mean?
It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
We've got a lot of things coming up. We've got probably the first one is going to be maybe Halloween.
Maybe.
And then we've got Thanksgiving, and then there's, you know, the Christmas and the Hanukkah and all the different celebrations. So what does that mean for you?
Well, it's a time when families get together.
Yes.
Sometimes for the first time, and who knows with COVID if people have even done Thanksgiving in the last few years or done Christmas in the last few years. So maybe we're getting together for the first time in many years. And, you know, children come to mom and dad's and they haven't been there in a while. And sometimes they're quite surprised with what they find. There's, you know, mom and dad might have declined a little bit, and they, you know, they sound good on the phone or they look good on FaceTime or however they're connecting.
Sure.
But you go to the house and maybe you see some things that kind of set you back a little bit.
So what are the points that perhaps people should be looking for?
Yeah, so is there a lot of unopened mail? You know, has something started to stack up? Looks like things aren't being attended to as they used to. You know, sometimes it's scary to get in the car with mom or dad when they're driving. You know, let's go down to the grocery store and you know, do some shopping for the dinner, and mom drives and oh my gosh, you're like, come back and your knuckles are white and all of that. Or maybe there's a few dings, you know, a little few dents in the fender that didn't used to be there. Or a few scrapes on the edge of the garage door coming in and out, or something, you know, things that used to always be paid attention to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the mom was always meticulous about the flower bed, and now the flower bed's kind of overgrown. Or she cooks her famous sweet potato casserole and it doesn't taste the same. She left something out, or you know, any number of things that are just off, that aren't quite the same. You know, the dad always used to tinker and stuff like that in the garage, maybe, and he's not doing that anymore. Is their lifestyle changing? Do you see things that kind of set you back a little bit and wonder, I mean, the main focus is safety. Are they safe at home? You know, some of the tipping points that we need to look at of getting maybe someone in the house is the house clean? You know, you can get a home health agency to come in and they can actually do some light housework. They can prepare some meals and put them up in the fridge and stuff. They don't necessarily have to leave their house, but we might want to bring some help in, you know, to help them through this difficult time.
Yeah, make a transition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, if somebody calls you and says, "Look, I've got this problem. We've noticed some of the things that you were talking about. We're not really sure whether they need somebody to come in and help them in the home, or whether one or other of them or both of them should be somewhere where there is somebody looking after them most of the time." How does that process take place? How do you find out what's needed? Are there people that you can connect them with that can go along and say, "Oh yeah, we noticed this and we noticed that"?
Yeah, so I always say it's never too early to have the conversation. Right. It's never too early just to kind of look and talk. You know, our service is free. There's no cost or obligation to have us come, and we can come to the house and meet and talk with mom and dad, but yes, there's a lot of different directions this can take, and you know, I just love to be able to sit with. I love it when I go in and there's like 3 or 4 kids and mom and dad, and they're all at the table and they're all kind of on the same page. Hey, we've got some concerns, and we want to know what our options are. Because I can talk. I mean, obviously, I talk about assisted living and memory care and housing options. But before you get there, I mean, maybe we're just, you know, that stack of mail on the table and bills aren't getting paid. We don't want this whole thing to collapse around that and all of a sudden have delinquencies. Right. Maybe we just need someone to come and manage your finances for you. Take over your bill pay. You know, those are quite common services that people need. And they're very easy to find. And there's some wonderful, we had Heather Jackson on.
Yes.
You know, and that's what she does. So people can stay at home, but they just need their finances so that, you know, their taxes are paid and all those kind of things. Or maybe, you know, again, the house isn't quite as clean as it used to be, or mom's struggling with cooking. You know, home health aides, they can come in and they can prepare meals. They can go shopping with them. They can do some light housekeeping and stuff, and a lot of things that can be done to help keep people in their homes longer, because that's where people want to stay.
Yes.
They really do. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Oh boy, today I'm moving to assisted living." Yeehaw! It's not kind of how it goes.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, is it?
No.
So there are also, as we've had on, Prism, who has all these lovely gadgets and things like that people can use, which assist them and help them stay in their own home as well. So maybe those are things that perhaps some of the children don't actually know about, and they're not aware. So again, you know, they can ask the question, and you can give them answers.
Exactly.
If there is a situation which perhaps needs a more immediate attention, how long does it normally take, the process from finding what you need to do to completing the service?
The normal process is probably a month, I would say.
Right.
But I mean, I've done same-day placement in an emergency situation where it just really was a bad situation, and I was able to find a community and get them placed that day. But most of the time, I mean, we meet, we talk, we schedule tours, we go kick the tires, you know, because this is a big decision. Sure. You know, if you're leaving a house, you know, these people have stayed in their homes for 30, 40, 50 years, and this is where we're going to live the next time. I like to take the time to tour several communities, because it's as much, I mean, there is the clinical side, okay? We want someone that can meet your needs clinically, medically, but also culturally. Yeah. This is a big part of it that we spend a lot of time on. I want to know who mom is. I want to understand dad. What are the kind of things that can get them engaged? What type of environment? You know, I don't want them waking up the next morning and looking around and saying, I don't have anything in common with these people. What am I doing here? Yeah. You know, let's get them to a place where they'll meet people of similar backgrounds, of similar interests, where they can get engaged and start to thrive again. I love it when I've helped people that were kind of declining at home. They've lost their mobility. They were just kind of cocooning, and they were failing to thrive. And then we get them matched up in a great community, and you come back, you know, 3-4 months later,
different
and
people.
They've got a spring in their step, a sparkle in their eye. They come up, I get a big hug. Dave, we're having so much fun. We should have done this years ago. But you know, there's just things that it's like the frog in the pot, right? It just happens slowly, you know, and you don't really notice it until you come and you visit over the holidays. Oh my gosh, this is so different than it was 6 months ago or a year ago. And when you see those things, let's start the conversation. Just because we talk doesn't mean we're moving next week. Yes. Okay, but let's start the conversation so everybody knows what options are available out there. And then you guys tell me when the time is right.
And can couples move together?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, so it's not a case of...
No. Yeah. Couples, pets, you know, all these things.
Really? Yes.
All these places are pets. Pets are a big part of people's lives.
Yes.
Especially seniors' lives. So couples can move together. You know, it's funny how often it is that, like, one spouse will have dementia, will have cognitive issues, but be physically fit. And the other spouse is sharp as a tack, but their body is failing them. And
but as one,
they make it together.
Yeah, really.
It's funny how that works a lot of times. But yes, so they have some different needs, but yes, we can meld those together. And definitely they go together as a couple. And, you know, assisted living, like maybe the rate for what the first person is like $4,000. Second person gets in for $800. So it's very economical.
Yes.
The most expensive way is to split them and try to maintain the house for one and the community for the other. It's much more economical to go together.
And this is obviously something else that people probably don't realize. How much is surrounding this myth that, well, that's it, you know, we couldn't afford to go to a home, we need help, we can't afford it. How do you find out this stuff? I mean, is there information out there to tell you, or do you need someone like you who will be able to put it all into perspective and this is what you need to know?
You really do. I mean, if you try to go out there and find the pricing and things on your own, you know, where are you going to go? I mean, you're just going to go to the ones that are within a 5-mile radius of your home? Well, I mean, I'll tell you, there are pockets of Jacksonville and Northeast Florida where there's a lot of competition, and they're beating each other up to get people in. And there's other places where there's few, and they're charging what they want. And if you only go there and say, oh my gosh, everything's $5,000 and up, Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
I can find quality assisted living in the low to mid 2000s. You know, it can start there and go up. I worked with a couple that he was a retired pastor, but he had some time in the military, and you know, I think his Social Security was like 800, hers was like 700, but because he was a veteran and we got that extra $2,300, their budget went up, you know, to over 3,000, and I found a place for the two of them.
Oh,
And I mean, he was in a wheelchair and she had dementia. It was that thing. She was physically fine, but she had dementia. He was sharp as a tack, but was in a wheelchair. But we were able to do that for them with that VA benefit. So the pricing points, yeah, I know where they are. It's going to be hard for you to find them on your own, but I know where they are.
So if people want to know more, I mean, we talk about Oasis regularly, but how do they find you? How, you know, what are the contacts? Is it only online, or do you have a telephone number that people can connect with you?
Telephone.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I mean, the obvious one online, oasisjax.com is the website. Or our main phone is 904-386-5708. Put that on the screen. Yeah, 904-386-5708. But yeah, and we answer that all the time. It is a cell phone. It can receive texts also.
So actually, the thing we should stress is that if you see anything, then just ask the question, because it's never too soon to ask, and we're not taking anyone away.
No, we're not.
It's just trying to find out what the options could be.
No cost or obligation. It's just all about education.
Fabulous. Thanks for coming in and discussing this with us, Dave.
Thanks, Adrian. It's always fun.
And don't forget, if you'd like to know any more about Oasis Senior Advisors, you can also contact iwantabuzz.com.
Yes, that consultation is one of the critical steps where we will meet in person wherever they're comfortable meeting, whether that's in their home or a Panera Bread or a Starbucks. But that consultation, we find out first, you know, what are the clinical needs? What's going on medically, if anything, that's causing you to make this leap? Tell me about mom. Is she a foodie? Is she crafty? Is she a gamer? Does she play cards? Is she spiritual? Is she into discussion groups? All these different things that we learn about the client during that time helps put together the whole picture, the tangibles that I spoke about, as well as the intangibles that are going to make that match. If this is where you're going to live for the next 10, 15, 20 years, let's make sure it's a place that you can engage and thrive, that we've done our homework. And that consultation is the critical starting point for that.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of Caring for Seniors. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Each week, I sit down with Dave Stieglitz, who is the president of Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville, and we discuss all aspects of senior living. Today is no exception, because today we're touching on the fact that we are deep into the festive season and certain things that we should be looking out for with our loved ones. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
I'm fine. So we said we were going to talk about the fact that here we are in the middle of the holiday season, and families are going to be getting together. What are some of the things that they should be looking for if they're worried about their loved ones?
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, if you haven't seen mom and dad in a while and you go visit them and things, you know, just don't seem quite the same. You know, maybe mom or dad was very detail-oriented and very fastidious about the bills, and had a little office that was always very neat, and everything was always paid on time, and you go, maybe you see some mail that's stacked up, mail that's unopened, maybe some late notices of something, or, you know, it's just not quite right. Be on the lookout for that. Maybe mom's famous green bean casserole you know, and you sit down to dinner and it seems like there's something maybe left out of the green bean casserole. You know,
Yeah.
you know, it's just not quite the same. Just things that are different. Maybe the yard was always very meticulously maintained and it's not so much anymore. Or the house is maybe starting to have some disrepair or not as clean as it used to be. Or look in the garage at the car. Are the corners being rounded off a little bit?
Oh gosh, you didn't even think about that. Yeah.
You know, different things. Watch their gait around the house. How are they getting around? You know, are they, you know, is everything as it was? Are you starting to see different things? There's just little signs that maybe things aren't all well at home.
Yeah. Laundry stacking up, or
or not done properly,
dishes.
Or there, you know, Dad's got his T-shirt on backwards or something like that. Any number of situations that it's just not what it was. We maybe need to talk about what's going on. Is this the safest and best environment? Is it time to just explore? Just because we explore doesn't mean we're making any obligation. You know, our service is free. There's no cost or obligation to talk. And as I always say, knowledge is power. If you don't know what's out there as an option, you can never make the decision to go do it. So we're all about, let me show you what options are, what could be out there, where could we get some help from, even if it's just starting to bring in some home health. You know, somebody coming in 4 hours a day, a couple times a week to help clean up around the house, maybe prepare a few meals. You know, you can start with a very simple help like that. But at some point, we ought to take a look at what's out there in the assisted living senior housing market.
Do you find that there's a lot of anxiety and stress that happens around the holiday season?
Yes, and there's a lot of anxiety and stress about that conversation too. You know, sometimes, oh, Dad won't hear of it. You know, I've tried to bring it up, you know, many times. It's like, I'm going to go out feet first from this house. You know, been in this house for 40 years. You're not, and nobody wakes up in the morning and says, hot damn, I'm going to assisted living today. You know, it's not, but a lot of it is that paradigm of that generation is don't put me in the home.
Yes.
Because of what these places used to be like. And a lot of them have no idea what these communities have evolved into.
They're sort of like beautiful hotels now.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if I can sit down and just have a conversation, sometimes I can say the same things that the adult children have been saying for years, but I'm an outsider.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden they'll listen to me. I mean, I've seen the jaws drop of the kids. You didn't say anything different than I've been saying. I says, no, I didn't, but it's coming from a different person. They're not going to listen to you. You're their kids.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell them what to do. But I can say the same thing. And if I can get them to agree, let's just go tour. Let's just go kick some tires. There's no obligation. There's no cost. And if I can get them out to tour, and we can take them to a couple communities, I see their eyes go, wow, this is nice. You know, and they can start to see other people having fun, and they can start to see themselves there.
Yeah.
You know, until you put them in that environment, you know, they're at home and they're in that environment, they don't want to leave it. So.
Right. So do you go in and talk to the children, or do you talk to the actual people, or both? And then you've got to get some sort of idea of what lifestyle they would like.
Yeah. I'd say half the time it's the adult children that reach out to me initially. Half the time it's the clients themselves. And if it's the adult children, you know, I pick their brains. So I have some basis of knowledge. Tell me about mom. Tell me about dad. Tell me what's going on. Is he a veteran? Is there the VA benefit potential in there, which is a huge difference maker for a lot of people. So I try to learn about that. And then usually they'll set up a meeting where I come to the house and they're there and we all sit and talk about it. And you know, and I kind of weave and, you know, go down the path and see where I can make some connection with them to develop that trust and see if we can just move forward again to explore. I just really push on that. There's no obligation. Let's just learn what's out there.
It's a challenge for everybody. It's not just the adult children. I mean, for you as well.
Yeah.
Going into not a hostile environment, but a reticent, perhaps, situation. How do you overcome that? How do you deal with those situations when you're faced with them?
Trying to listen for points that I can make a connection with. Trying to have empathy. Everybody's situation is different. Everybody's background is different. And just, you know, going in, first of all, being in their home where they're comfortable is easier than making them come to an office or somewhere where they're not comfortable.
Right.
So immediately they're in their own environment. You know, and I usually, you know, just some small talk, just try to make a connection. You know, how long have you lived in that house? Oh my gosh, what a great neighborhood and things, and just go from there. I am constantly amazed at how quickly seniors will open up, how inherently trusting they are. It's almost scary. I can see how they get abused, because sometimes after about a 5 or 10 minute conversation, you know, they're opening up about their finances. They're opening up about all kinds of things that if I were going in a different direction, I could easily take advantage of. So it's almost sad, but the connecting part usually isn't difficult, because seniors are a trusting, and they want to talk to somebody about what's going on. They
always want to talk, don't they?
Yes.
Can't stop them talking. When you are offering them all the different options, do you also touch base about what benefits they're going to need, or the costs involved? You mentioned veterans and how they have benefits that can be utilized. Do you have all that information at hand?
Yes. So assisted living in Northeast Florida can range from $2,000 a month to $10,000 a month. Okay. So I do try to, before I get in depth with specific communities, I do try to get a feel for their finances, because I don't, you know, if their budget's $3,000, I don't want to talk about the $5,000 communities.
Because that's always the one you want, isn't it?
Right. So I want to be very respectful of my clients' finances, even if, you know, they have some equity in the house or they have some savings. I never want to place someone what I call upside down, where they're going in and it's costing them more than their current sustainable income, because they're at a certain health level now, and as their health declines and they need more help in the community, the costs will go up. Because you have your base room rate, but then there's care charges based on how much care you need. So let's save the equity in the house for when your care charges go up, so that we have that nest egg back there to fall on. So I want to be very careful and respectful of the finances. And I explore, you know, is there a veteran in the picture? Yes. VA benefits, you know, for a married veteran can be $2,300 a month. So now that $3,000 budget just went over $5,000. Okay. And a lot of the surviving spouses, you know, they were married to a veteran at the time of their death. Their benefit of $1,250 is a difference maker, and most of them have no idea that that's available to them. So yes, we talk about the VA benefits. We talk about a path to Medicaid. If they have some savings, but it's limited, you know, how do we get on that path, and which places are appointed with Medicaid, because not all are. How do they handle Medicaid, because they don't handle it in the same way. So there's a whole strategy of how do we transition from private pay to Medicaid. If you can go in private pay, there are many nice communities that will let you start private pay and transition to Medicaid as a retention device. But if you came on Medicaid at the beginning, they wouldn't talk to you. So there's so much things to navigate on that benefit side. Yes.
So many things. So we were talking. We started off talking about the fact that we're deep in the holiday season now. What are the things that you want to remind people?
You know, just watch. The conversation isn't easy, and I can fill that gap for you. Just to say, hey, I got a guy I want you to meet. You know, he's an expert in senior housing and assisted living in Northeast Florida. Not that we're going there, but just to learn, just to have a conversation with him. Doesn't cost us anything. You know, I just love to have that conversation and teach people what's out there and how you navigate it.
And so how can they get hold of you?
OasisJax.com is our website. Our office number is 904-386-5708, or iwannabuzz.com.
Yes, there we go. Thanks for coming in, Dave. It's always good to talk to you and find out more about Oasis.
Thanks, Adrienne.
And as David said, don't forget, you can always find out some more information about Oasis Senior Advisors at oasisjax.com or iwannabuzz.com.
Hi, my name is Cince Bonino, and I'm Judy Bonino's daughter. I live in Burlington, Vermont. I found myself in a very uncomfortable situation when my mom, who was beginning to get dementia, was in the hospital and was told that she would need 24/7 care upon her discharge. I had no idea what to do. It was a very challenging situation because time was of the essence. I had to find a place for my mother very quickly. And when I spoke with Dave, he helped to draw off some of my anxiety because he never appeared anxious. But at the same time, there was an urgency and a certainty in him that we will find what you need. And he found her a place where she's really, really happy. I would refer someone to Oasis Senior Advisors without a moment's hesitation.
Absolutely, and this is an area that many of our veterans don't know about, but is so critical, especially with so many here in town. So for our veterans, the VA will actually help pay for assisted living. The basic requirements are you had to have at least 90 consecutive days of active duty during a declared war period. You didn't have to serve in theater. You could have been in Europe during Vietnam, but you had to have 90 consecutive days of active duty, and one of those had to correspond with a declared war period. That's your service requirement. Then you have to have a medical need for assisted living, and that's as simple as the doctor says you're a fall risk and he wants you to use a cane or a walker. That alone can get you the medical need. And then the cost of the assisted living has to exceed your gross monthly income. That's not hard to do. And then you can't have more than $127,000 in liquid assets outside of a trust. A house doesn't count, and things that are protected in a trust don't count. So if you meet all those requirements, for a single veteran, the VA will chip in $1,900 a month toward the cost of assisted living. It's a significant benefit. For a married veteran, it's almost $2,300 a month. And the portion that really doesn't know about this benefit, the surviving spouses of our deceased veterans, the VA will chip in almost $1,250 a month for that. It's a difference maker and really can get some people that were in a very difficult situation into a safe one. We are local. We are your local experts in senior housing. We have taken the time to personally set foot in just about every licensed senior community in Northeast Florida. And not just, be there, but also pay attention to, is the same staff there, or are they having turnover? Are the residents smiling? Are they happy? Are they interacting with the staff? And what is the culture? What is the personality? There's a lot of intangibles that we pick up on and remember when it's time to match a client with the right community. The intangibles are as important as the tangibles. And I think that sets us apart in that intimate personal knowledge of the communities in Northeast Florida.